Adam Ondra is the best climber in the world. But to win Olympic gold, he needed to learn a new way to climb. Fast. By John Branch. Photographs by Chong W. Lee. Brno, Czech Republic. The world's best climber is a wiry 27-year-old with a curly mop of hair and a noticeably long neck. His name is Adam Ondra, and on a misty fall day in an industrial valley on the outskirts of his hometown, he was inside the massive metal silo of a former rock quarry that had been converted into a climbing gym. Ondra leaned back and stared up the 15-meter wall that rose to the rafters. The wall leaned toward him slightly, menacingly, and was freckled with red holes dusty with chalk. It was a route to the Olympics, and Ondra was flummoxed. He wanted to get to the top in under 8 seconds. By the time the Summer Games in Tokyo open in July, maybe he could do it in under 7. The world record is 5.48 seconds. That would never happen for Ondra. He is the world's best climber, but not its best speed climber. And as soon as the Olympics were over, he would never do the speed wall again. But first he had to get there. Ondra found little joy in all this. To him, climbing was never meant to be about muscle memory and speed. It was about problem solving and creativity. It was efficiency, daring, control. The fact that you can climb in 5 seconds or 6 seconds has nothing to do with climbing, Ondra said. Ita's a circus. Still, the speed wall before him was the obstacle, and few appreciate a challenge more than he does. He clipped his harness into the auto-belay system, glanced to ensure the clock was reset, and positioned his feet on the electronic start pad. He lifted his right foot on the wall and grabbed a red hold with 2 hands. He froze and scowled. He took a few hard, loud breaths. He lunged skyward. He slipped, cursed, and fell slowly back to earth. An ordinary wall silently taunted an extraordinary man. The problem is, I am not fast enough to turn off my brain, Ondra said. He smiled through the dejection, and an unspoken question hung in the chalky air. Why is he doing this? Ondra is probably the best indoor climber in the world, and probably the best outdoor climber in the world, and certainly the best combination of the two. Even those who are more famous, like Alex Honnold, say that Adam Ondra is the best climber on earth. He's basically rewritten climbing the past 10 years, Honnold said. Ondra has climbed 3 of the 4 hardest routes in the world, no one else has done more than 1. He went to Yosemite National Park for the first time in 2016 and became the 3rd person to free climb El Capitan's Don Wall, doing it in less than half the time needed by Tommy Caldwell and Kevin Jurgeson in 2015. Ondra's growling, screaming, upside-down scaling of silence in a Norwegian cave in 2017 might be the hardest and loudest climb ever captured on film. Ondra blends those pursuits with the indoor competition circuit. He is the only MENA-S climber to win season-long titles in both bouldering, ropeless, acrobatic crawls up short, often overhanging walls, and lead climbing, the classic, methodical discipline with its high walls and long ropes, and the only one to win both world championships in the same year. Ondra has a thing for climbing challenges. The debut of climbing as an Olympic event is the next one. It comes with a compromise that no one likes, only 1 climbing medal each for men and women. The International Olympic Committee wanted that medal to go to speed climbing. Ita's a vertical sprint to the top, easy to understand, good for television. But the sport's governing body, the International Federation of Sport Climbing, pushed back, knowing speed climbing is a strange derivative of the sport's broader ethos. Speed walls have had the same design, the same holds, put in exactly the same places, for more than 20 years. Every wall at every competition is the same. Speed specialists are, generally, compact and explosive athletes who have been doing the same route all their competitive lives. Gym rats more than rock climbers, most of them rarely compete in bouldering or lead, just as Ondra never bothered with speed. But when the IOC refused to give climbing more medals, the Climbing Federation created a combination event for the games. Speed, bouldering, and lead were mashed into one. We wanted to have 3 disciplines, the Federation's chief executive, Marco Maria Skolaris, said. Otherwise you will kill the disciplines you leave behind. The result is a bit like giving skiing one medal and awarding it by combining the results of, say, downhill racing, ski jumping and moguls. If Climbing's debut goes well, it will be expanded to 2 Olympic medals in 2024. The IOC will get its speed event and bouldering and lead disciplines more compatible in culture will be combined. For now, though, Ondra and everyone else will need to be fluent in all 3. This was why he was standing at the bottom of a speed wall in Brno. Ondra caught his breath. Gaggles of tiny children scampered up and down the colorful, bumpy walls around him. Most paid little attention to him. That's why I like training in Brno, Ondra said. Here, most of the people who wanted to get a selfie or a signature have already done so. He approached the wall for another attempt. He went through his routine: rope, clock, mat, positioning, breaths. He churned up the wall, lurching from one hold to the next in a clatter of thumps and grunts. He smacked the button at the top, 7.78 seconds. Yes. Yes. Ondra pumped his fists and kicked his feet as he slow glided back to the ground. I know the Olympics is just one thing in my life, Ondra said. No matter what happens, I can come back to my rocks and do what I was used to doing. I can come back to what makes me happy. Vale, Colo. Wo's the guy with the long neck, The question was from a young boy to his mother. Thoughtas Adam Ondra, she said. Ondra gazed up at the bouldering wall before him while sifting his hands in a bag of powdered chalk. To the crowd watching behind his back, it was an inverted wall with several large, colorful, 3-dimensional shapes bolted to it, some the size of sofas, some rounded and some with corners, plus a few specks that were finger holds. The pattern appeared random. To Ondra, the route was obvious. This was his element, strategy, not speed. Ondra came to Colorado with a plan. He always has a plan. He would surrender his outdoor rock climbing pursuits for most of 2 years to focus on qualifying for and competing at the Olympics. He would compete full-time in bouldering in the 2019 Climbing World Cup season in the spring, go to the August World Championships in Japan to earn a spot in the Olympics, then turn his attention to speed training through the fall. He would plow into 2020, singularly focused on Tokyo. He would win a gold medal. When Ondra makes a plan, it usually happens. He stands out from climbers just on looks. He is taller and leaner than most, more than 6 feet of rippled sinew. He is strong enough to do one-armed pull ups with someone on his back. His fingers have muscles. He has dark, expressive eyebrows, a hawk-like nose and an unusually long neck. Ondra long thought his neck was a detriment, a waste of length that did not make holds easier to reach but only added weight to his frame. Then a physiologist explained one benefit: his head is like the end of a pendulum. As I am about to set off with my next move, I push back my head and it forces my feet tighter against the wall, Ondra explained. I do it subconsciously. Ondra grunts and groans when exerting himself. He screams and convulses when he falls, and sometimes when he wins. In victory or defeat, he waves to the crowd, a wristy, childlike wave, like Forrest Gump before he jumps off the shrimp boat. Ondra has a reputation for good cheer. He smiles when he speaks. He is polite and inquisitive, a deep thinker with a side of goofy. He has a degree in economics and is fluent in 5 languages: Czech, English, Spanish, Italian and German. Yet his day-to-day life is aimed almost exclusively at becoming a better climber. He got his start outdoors at age 3. His parents, Miroslav and Eva, recreational climbers, often took Ondra and his sister and brother to crags outside Brno. Ondra took to it instantly. Holds were bolted to his bedroom walls at age 7, then extended to the ceiling, even down the hallway. There were house rules: he had to chalk up in the bathroom. And he had to climb barefoot because shoes would scuff the walls. By 11, Ondra was dominating junior competitions. He won his first World Cup season title in lead at 16 and followed with one in bouldering at 17. In 2014, at 21, he won both events at the World Championships. He is still the only man to do that. Outdoors, at 13, he scaled his first 514D route, a difficulty rating achieved only by elite climbers. In 2013, Ondra became the first to top La Duradura in Spain, rated a nearly impossible 515C, in a friendly competition with the veteran Chris Sharma, long considered the best climber of the world's hardest routes. In 2016, an article in Climbing magazine said that seeing Ondra scale a wall was like watching Michael Jordan play basketball or Einstein do math. Adam is very focused, very regimented, Sharma said. He's got a plan. And his plan is basically to be the greatest climber of all time. He is also a bridge between the outdoor and indoor climbing worlds, between rock climbing's lonely pursuit of unconquered routes in faraway places and competition climbing, with its plastic walls, carpeted gyms, and trophies. The hardest part of that is not just meeting the expectations of the rest of the world, inside and out, but in outdoing himself. When you win every time, you can only lose, said Klaus Eisel, an Austrian trainer who worked extensively with Ondra through 2017 and 2018. Well, you can either lose or be just as good as people expect you to be. But you can never be better. That's a difficult place to be. Ondra has few interests beyond climbing, and a singular, open-minded focus on improvement. For more than a year, he has been followed by a small crew from his company, AO Productions, creating a weekly YouTube series called The Road to Tokyo. He has sought advice from the Czech national ballet's physiotherapist, looking for tips on ankle posture. He had a track coach teach him how to explode from the start of the speed wall, like a sprinter from the blocks. He recently embraced acupuncture and Chinese medicine. Eisel recalled when they agreed to work together. I woke up the next day to 6 emails from Adam, Eisel said. Why is this guy stronger than me? Why can Chris Sharma do this? In Vail, Ondra bought a massager for his neck and canisters of oxygen to combat the high altitude. An hour before bedtime, he put on sunglasses with yellow tint to help calm him. He put on blue-tinted glasses in the morning. And he went to bed 2 hours earlier than he normally would, to counter the effects of the time change. Colorado is 8 hours different than home, Ondra said. 6 hours is kind of okay. 8 is worse. So I am acting like Ita's 6. On a sunny spring Saturday at the base of the ski slopes, people crowded onto a vast lawn, many to watch Ondra. They wore plaid shirts and trucker hats, like climbers on a rest day. Bouldering part ballet, part gymnastics, all strength and desperation. Is like a vertical game of Twister. Ondra completed the first 2 problems, but the third threw him. His long limbs, an advantage when trying to reach a hold, were a detriment for the awkward, coiled positioning needed. His frustrated scream pierced the dance club beat pulsing through a wall of speakers. The 4th and final boulder problem was not much better. Ondra neared the top but could not finish. Gravity won, it almost always does. Ondra gave a weak wave to the crowd. He was one successful upward move from the season championship, but lost it to Japan's Tomo Narasaki, Ondra's latest rival. Ondra is not used to not winning. He held his head in his chalky, calloused hands. I like lead more than bouldering, Ondra confided later. Ita's less cruel. Hachioji, Japan. It was the 2019 World Championships, inside a suburban Tokyo arena with Olympic bids at stake, and Ondra stood at the bottom of the lead wall. A year earlier, in Innsbruck, Austria, the Climbing Federation added the combined event, speed, bouldering, lead, to the World Championships, to test the format for the Olympics. Ondra finished second. All he had to do in Hokkaido was finish in the top 7 and he would have a free pass to Tokyo in 2020. It felt like a formality. But by afternoon on competition day, through the first 2 disciplines, Ondra was in 12th place. He was last among 20 competitors in speed, then a disappointing 6th in bouldering. The combined climbing results are a matter of arithmetic. A competitor's place in each of the 3 disciplines is multiplied together. The climber with the lowest total wins. A sweep of all 3 disciplines would be a perfect score of 1. Finishing second in each would score 8 points, 2x2x2. The math gets complicated in a hurry, though. If Ondra won bouldering and lead but finished 20th in speed, his total would be 20 points, 1x1x20 equal 20. That would put him ahead of someone who finished third in all 3, 3x3x3 equal 27. Near the end of the Olympic qualifiers, the math was fuzzy. The scoreboard shuffled with every competitor like a train station departure board with flipping numbers. Ondra figured he needed to finish in the top 3 in lead, his best event, to qualify for Tokyo. I am nervous, his longtime girlfriend, Iva Vejmalova, said. But he will be okay. Lead is the sport climbing discipline most like rock climbing in the imagination. Climbers wear harnesses and clip their ropes with carabiners at various intervals and go as high as they can in 6 minutes. It is exhausting to support yourself on the wall that long, so most fall off long before that. Ondra is among the few who occasionally reach the top of the route. Ondra moved with confidence, like a spider on the wall, when he suddenly slipped off. Stunned, he hung from the rope with his mouth open as the audience applauded politely. The calculators did their silent work. Results were in, Ondra was third. He was in the Olympics. But climbing is cruel. Another athlete's camp filed a protest, claiming Ondra had inadvertently stepped on one of the bolts protruding from the wall. The bolts give climbers a place to clip their ropes, but stepping on one is an obvious infraction. Officials rushed into a room and huddled around monitors. Photographers scanned their photos and videos for evidence. There was one place where Ondra appeared to blindly step near a bolt, but did he touch it? No one around Ondra could tell. For 10 minutes, he was in Olympic limbo. Vejmalova clung to him. Ondra looked as if he might cry. The arena emptied. A jazzy tune came from the speakers, discordant with the mood. An announcement came, Ondra was disqualified. There was no tantrum, no scream, no histrionics. Just silence. Ondra and Vejmalova walked out of the arena hand in hand to their rental car. He would need to find a different way into the Olympics. Thoughta's one thing about climbing. It is mostly a series of failures. There is always something pulling you back to earth. Brno, Czech Republic. Ondra headed outdoors. He had not rock climbed in 6 months, but he needed a reboot to regain some confidence, regain some joy, he said. He went to Italy, to a favorite climbing area called Terra Promessa, in early September. Then he went to Austria to tackle Key, his nightmare route, one that perplexed him for a decade. Only one person had flawlessly scaled the pitch, back in 1996. Ondra, finally, became the second. Rock climbing has more factors that make me happy, he said. Ondra speaks as if he's sending pitches, one measured burst at a time with pauses between the verbal equivalent of clipping in the rope. Sometimes you think he is finished when suddenly he is going again. This was one of those times. In competitions, there is only the challenge part, nothing more, he said. I enjoy doing well. I enjoy the training, the suffering, the dealing with the pressure of having to perform right now, at this hour, on this day. But in rock climbing, there is much more that I enjoy, seeing new places, the pure fact of being outside, of being 50 meters or 500 meters above the ground, feeling the air and feeling free while moving up the wall. There are too many factors that I like about rock climbing, but all of them are associated with freedom. Rejuvenated, Ondra returned to the competition circuit and swept 3 World Cup lead events. He won the 2019 season lead title, a consolation after his disappointing second place in bouldering. Yet he still had not qualified for the Olympics. The Olympics are the reason why I got so psyched for competitions again, Ondra said. Without that, I know, alright, IAVE won the World Championships maybe 2 times, 3 times, but going to 4 times, 5 times? I don't really care. But the Olympics are something different. There was a second chance to qualify. Those who did not claim places at the Worlds could compete in Toulouse, France, in December, for a few more Olympic spots. Ondra spent most of November at home preparing. Brno is the Czech Republic's second largest city, about 120 miles southeast of Prague. It spreads over a landscape part rolling, part rugged, covered in forests and fractured by valleys and ravines. It is off the usual tourist track, but has an old city center covered in cobblestones and topped by a castle and a cathedral. Ondra grew up in the city center, but he and Vejmalova now share a suburban house on the outskirts. They met at national climbing competitions when he was 11 and she was 9. They have dated since 2013. In 2018, they built a tall extension to their house. Inside are 4 walls, about 15 feet tall, that narrow near the top. The walls are covered in hundreds of holds of all shapes, sizes, and colors. Thick safety pads line the floor. Vejmalova, still a competitive climber, uses it to give lessons to children. But mostly it is a custom gym for On. He marks holds with different colors of tape to create training routes. From the street, through a narrow window to allow natural light, neighbors might glimpse a shirtless Ondra crawling the walls like an insect. They might hear him grunt and groan and scream. But as his window to an Olympic berth narrowed, more and more sessions took place at the only speed wall in town. It's the first time ever that I train for something I don't enjoy, Ondra said. But he did find it oddly fascinating. It's actually quite tiring, and it's only 6 seconds of effort, Ondra said. When speaking about climbing, his enthusiasm sometimes demands an exclamation point as punctuation. From the point of view of elite climbers, it's ridiculous. Attempts on the speed wall butchered his fingernails, a key to clinging to the wall in other disciplines. But Ondra felt he was getting more explosive, which could help his bouldering. The key to the speed wall is momentum. Because the holds are so far apart, the wall is harder to climb the slower you go. Like monkey bars, success requires flow. Ondra was still a gangly sight on the wall, but his times were going down with nearly every practice session. It's getting better, he said between attempts one day. It's quite a good feeling, flowing and running up the wall. It's a project, and I think of it like any project. You're just trying to get it wired. He knows he will never be a world-class speed climber. He just wants to get below 7 seconds in Tokyo. That might get him close to the top 10 heading into the bouldering and lead portions. That might give him wiggle room in the math of a tight competition. My strategy is, no matter what, to win in lead, Ondra said. Which gives me almost certainly 4th, and most certainly 3rd. I am quite aware that I am very likely the last in speed. And I have to know that, and not be disappointed in that. So why spend months practicing something he does not enjoy if it will not affect the outcome at the Olympics? If I just don't try to improve in speed, it will be harder with my head, Ondra said. Ondra seemed relaxed at home in the weeks before Toulouse. He attended a day-long seminar called Ready for Tokyo, organized by the Czech Olympic Committee, and won the Czech national championship in lead climbing before an adoring audience in Prague. He released an autobiography in Czech titled, A. Adam Ondra, a climber of body and soul, and held a book signing at a large bookstore. He made plans for a December trip to Nepal. Mostly, though, he climbed. When it came time for Toulouse, he was ready. During qualifications, among 22 competitors, Ondra was first in lead, second in bouldering and 14th in speed, with a time of 7.464 seconds. During the 8-man finals, Ondra was first in lead, third in bouldering and last in speed. The multiplication put him in second place. He was in the Olympics. There was relief. But with Ondra, there is always a sense that the hardest part is ahead.